Today we're talking about 5 ways to overstimulate an INFJ. Sensory overload is something that we hear all the time nowadays. It's something that is way more accepted. People are encouraged to do self-care. But the truth is, the things that really overstimulate an INFJ are still very unique. And so most of the time, we're not even aware of the things that overstimulate us. We know that we don't feel good in certain situations, but it's not something that we have accepted in a way of, oh, I'm allowed to leave now. Because everybody else will look at you and say, what do you mean you're going now? What do you mean that is too much for you? What do you mean you can't, do this and that? Because you don't have so many examples of other people doing that. And so we don't even look into that direction. We have conditioned ourselves to just accept the fact that, from time to time we don't feel good, and that's it. But it's about time that we first understand how we get overstimulated and to learn that it's okay that nobody else has the same reactions. Because once you know for sure, this is what I don't like, this is something that's not good for me, and you make sure that you set a clear cut at that point, you'll see how the people around you will finally accept it. They won't question it. Because if you leave for the 3rd time in a row after half an hour, they know that you will do it again, and that's okay. They either accept it or they don't. So those are the things we're going to look into today, and to understand that once you actually take care of yourself and you make sure that you don't overstimulate yourself, you will actually have so much more energy left that you can use and, put into things that make you create the life you always wanted. Before we get started, I want to remind you the next INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp is launching this Saturday, August 19th. So make sure you're on that waiting list. You get access to the early bird price, and set a reminder for the free masterclass we're going to have here on YouTube on launch date. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. Number 1, extroverts. So INFJs don't necessarily have a problem with being in a crowd of people if they're still alone. Let's say you're at a festival and you can, be in your own group. You can decide what you're going to listen to. You have your 2 friends that are, just as quiet as you are, and it's all comfortable and good. You're probably not going to mind the fact that there are a lot of people around you because you still are in charge of your energy. The things that really overstimulate us is if we're around extroverted people and they have loud conversations, they have, a big exchange of energy, and we're in the part of that. We have to understand the fact that we absorb energy, and we absorb energy in particular when there's some kind of exchange of energy. So somebody yells something out, somebody expresses something in a loud way. These are things that we pick up even if we don't want to. So it could be you and 2 other people, maybe even family members, who are really all about, connecting with each other. Maybe there's joy, maybe there's anger, maybe there's some kind of discussions. All of this is something that overstimulates an INFJ very quickly. And people will not understand it because the people around you may live like this their entire lives, and they don't understand why you in this situation, need to take a step back. What do we normally do? We stay in the room because it would be rude to leave. We become quiet. We don't engage in the conversation, which, inevitably leads to people thinking, oh, we're just not interesting, or we have nothing to say, or, we're not interested in the people. But the thing is this, we actually, take a step back because there's so much energy going around us, and we pick it up. We pick it up and we can't even hear ourselves think. We can't, relax. We can't find space for ourselves. So it's about time that we recognize that these situations are extreme to us, and it doesn't matter that it isn't extreme for other people. It overstimulates an INFJ. So really ask yourself, even when you're in a small environment like that, like you're at home and you might say, well, I'm not around thousands of people. No, you may be around 2 people, but those 2 people take up so much energy in that room and in a way that you don't like. You would want it to be different. So you can do 2 things. You can either join a conversation and lead it into an energy that is, pleasant to you, or you can say, I'm going to excuse myself and do my own thing. Whatever you do, just do it consciously. Don't stay in the room and take it because you think you have to. You don't. The others are not going to be aware of what's going on within you, but it's about time that we recognize what's going on, right? Be aware, take charge, get yourself out of the situation or change the emotional atmosphere. And you will see how much more energy you'll have because you won't be drained, the way you're always used to. The second way to overstimulate an INFJ is to demand our attention. If you're around somebody and they want to tell you about their day, what do? We listen. That's what we do. We're not only listening, we actually absorb what is going on. We're giving that person attention. We are there. We're present. We're not just a wall that they're talking against. And this requires energy. How often have you been in situations where you have a lot of things going on, a lot of things that you're planning or doing, and then somebody comes in and they demand your attention? Again, what do? We listen because we feel if we don't do that, we're a bad friend. But that's just not the case. Because you have to understand, yes, we want to be a good friend. We want to be there for others. It's something that we're really good at. Like we can really be there for somebody in that way. We can make them feel seen because we really listen. But the only way for us to do this long term and still have the energy for ourselves is to set healthy boundaries and to say, I'm not listening to you when I'm already on overload. I'm not going to make time for you because I'm already, so focused on so many other things. This does not make you a bad friend. This does not make you a bad person. It makes you a human being who's aware of their own needs. You can be the best friend you can be when you make sure that you're good. So people have to learn that they cannot demand your attention all the time. It's just not possible. But they're going to continue doing that if you never tell them, that's it. I cannot listen to you. I don't have the capacity to pay attention to you. Like, say it out loud and see how you feel about it. You'll probably feel bad. You probably feel like, that is so harsh. That sounds so self-focused and like with no empathy because obviously the other person is going through something or they just want to share a joyful event. Well, great. But you have to have the capacity for it. If you stop what you're doing and you listen to them, you're actually putting on more that you can handle. And I promise you, you will run yourself to the ground. You won't have the energy to really be there for others or for yourself or for anything else. You have to first make sure that you have enough to give. I mean, those situations where you've been relaxed for a couple of days, maybe you haven't talked to somebody. Situations like this have existed. And then if you talk to somebody or when you talk to somebody, you actually are there. You want to listen to them. You want to give them all your attention and you enjoy this, interaction. You enjoy listening to them and to understand it from their perspective. It's about time that we recognize that there's a difference of us listening to somebody and participating in their life because we want to, because it's a joyous event, because it's, a place where we want to give empathy. It feels like we're drawn to that in a positive way, or because we feel guilty. Because if we do this because we feel guilty and we actually don't have that much to give, it will definitely overstimulate you. And you will see in the long term, you're going to be much less of a friend than you could actually be because you just don't have that much to give. Always make sure that your cup of energy is running over, and from that kind of energy, you can give to others. Self-care needs to be the first priority because otherwise you just, cannot help anybody else. And self-care for the INFJ will probably look different than self-care for other people. The third way to overstimulate an INFJ is detailed work. This is something that a lot of INFJs struggle with because it's something that we don't want to admit, particularly when it comes to, job situations. We cannot do detailed work for a long time and enjoy it. Yes, there might be some INFJs who are exceptional in this regard. Like, I'm not saying that if you like detailed work, you're definitely not an INFJ. But in general, us INFJs are not great with details. We're not great with really detailed, focused work. And if it's something that is demanded of us and we pretend that, we can do this, we're not doing anybody any favors. Like, very often we don't want to admit that because it feels like weakness. But we should actually, look at it from another perspective. We should take charge of that quality and understand that because we generally don't have a lot of capacity for detailed work, we probably have more capacity for, big picture thinking. We probably have more capacity for creating visions and stepping out of the day-to-day work. A lot of people do not have the capacity for that. This is overstimulating for them. So when you approach a job situation, for example, like really lean in on that. That's where you're good at. That's where you can excel. Really look at how your cognitive functions are set up and ask yourself, what do I like doing? That is what I'm good at, right? And the things that you're not good at, like make that, known. Like really say, this is what I'm good at. I don't like doing this stuff. If you're looking for somebody who's doing exactly those detailed work things, I'm pretty sure you'll find somebody who loves doing that, who's really, really good at that. They will always be better at this than I am. But what I can bring to the table is this. I can, create new situations that, haven't occurred to anybody yet. I can make connections with people and create amazing new results because of that. Really lead with the things that you love doing and the things that come easy to you instead of being embarrassed about the things that you should be doing, but what actually are the things that completely overstimulate you. The fourth way to overstimulate an INFJ is to set strict rules. The INFJ is not a person who can live by strict rules. It's just not in our nature. We need to have the capacity to bend the rules here and there, to really do our own thing, to allow ourselves to create the energy and our structure the way that it works for us. For a lot of people, structures and rules are the perfect thing. They give them the stability to, have a routine, have security, and, they excel in these situations. The INFJ does not. I mean, you have to keep in mind the INFJ is still an INFJ. We are judgers, meaning we do like structure in the external world. But strict rules is a different ballpark, right? We like to be able to create our own rules. So if you're in an environment where you feel like I have to be completely stiff, I have to pretend I'm somebody else, I have to, be really, really strict with how I express myself, how I act, you're probably going to get overstimulated quickly because it's not something we cannot do, but it requires a lot of energy. It requires a lot of focus, and focusing in this way overstimulates an INFJ very quickly. And the fifth way to overstimulate an INFJ is to put us close to a very emotional person. What we do in that regard is we want to cater to that. If somebody is really happy around us, if somebody's very sad around us, it's really like an addiction. We want more of that. We want to experience those emotions. These emotions make us feel alive because it's the easiest way for us to feel something. We can either imagine it or we can sort of feel it through the other person. But the thing is this, the way other people, react around us is still not in our control. We very often think it can be in our control. There are people around us who are really, really sad, so we're going to be there and lift them up. We do this because of good intentions, but we're also doing this subconsciously and probably most importantly because of that, because we feel bad the moment they feel bad. We feel that, and without even thinking about it, we just want to release that pain. Yes, if you think about it, yes, we rationally want the other person not to feel the pain, but the first reaction is, oh, this feels painful, let me fix that. But people who are very emotional have learned how to deal with that. They can sort of deal with the high highs and the low lows. They have the capacity for that. You as an INFJ don't. I don't. And we have to come to terms with the fact that this is something that overstimulates us. We're not INFPs. We're not ENFJs. We're INFJs. And so we don't have the capacity to pick up that much emotion and deal with it. At some point, it will overstimulate ourselves. And it's on us to set a boundary there. The biggest shift I've had in my life, the thing that made me, rethink everything, start my INFJ epic life journey was actually that. I was too emotionally involved. I picked up every single emotion I was getting from another person and I just couldn't handle it. I had to come to terms with the fact that, I'm just not a person who has the capacity to pick up that much. We as INFJs very often think we can because, that's something that makes us feel human. That's something that makes us feel like we're a good person. But in the end, we're still human. And we're humans that have limits. And we cannot take that much emotional baggage on. It's just not something that we're capable of. And because we naturally tend to go there, it's even that much more important that we recognize that this can easily overstimulate us and that we take control of that situation and proactively set boundaries and say, I'm not getting more emotionally involved in this kind of situation, in this kind of dynamic or conversation, because it will take up too much of my energy. That's your thing. You can experience those emotions, learn from them, whatever it may be. Those aren't my emotions. I don't need to take them on. And you'll see, once you make sure that you don't overstimulate yourself, that you give yourself the energy that you need, you can create the life you always wanted. You can start taking steps into building the INFJ Epic life on your terms. And that's exactly what we do in bootcamp. And we have this great community and everybody is encouraging everybody else. And you just see how all these INFJs work together to create their unique, life the way they want it. I really look forward to seeing so many of you this bootcamp round. Remember, we launch this Saturday, August 19th. So make sure you're on that waiting list. You get access to the early bird price and set a reminder for the free masterclass on the bootcamp. It's this Saturday, August 19th. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on the 5 things that happen once the INFJ finally stops trying to be social.